Wednesday. Welcome to How Gratitude Leads to Economic Growth. This is going to be a very exciting live this morning. I've got some great information that was recently learned and also experienced by a very talented speaker and educator in the human experience space, human connection space his name is Chris Schembra. So I'll give it a couple minutes. If you're logging in now or coming on, let us know where you're calling in from or where you are currently. So I'll go first. I am currently in my office at home. I am in Durango, Colorado. So who's ever been to Durango, Colorado? Let me know. Now I'm just going to do a quick check to see if we are actually live on LinkedIn, or am I just talking to myself? That could be the case too. Hold on. Yep, we are live. Good to go. This is looking good, everyone. So, if it's morning where you are, you can tell me where you're calling in from, where you're from, or what kind of coffee you're drinking this morning. If you're drinking tea or drinking water. I also have some water. So make sure you've got yourself prepared. We're going to spend 30 minutes together. Even though it's getting chilly here, I'm still drinking cold brew. I love drinking cold brew in the morning. All right. So, who is looking forward to this conversation around how gratitude leads to economic expansion? Now, economic expansion is kind of a boring word unless you're a business owner. But gratitude is exciting and how it leads to economic expansion, meaning growth in an organization, especially monetarily. So this will be a good one for you all. Let me just see if there's any comments real quick. If you're just coming on now, I am doing a quick presentation on how gratitude leads to economic expansion. Oh, cool. We've got, let's see here. All right, we've got Alan on, Marissa, hello, Bellingham, Washington, that's right. How is Washington, Marissa? I miss it there. Not miss it too much, like I want to move there, but I miss it. Chris, thank you for commenting. Okay, let's do this. Let's get this party started. All right, so who am I and what are we doing today? So I am Teresa Larson. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. My kids around wrestling, jumping on trampolines. I just love being active. And I love connecting with other people. Like it's one of the most favorite pieces of what I do for work. And sometimes I have to pinch myself that I get to do this for work. And as I was sharing with an organization yesterday that I was speaking to, our company is taking many pivots. And the pivot that we stuck with that has made the biggest impact is working with fellow business leaders, fellow business owners who want to dial in their own health and well-being so they can create more human connection and show up for their people better. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is a very important aspect of how you show up, which is showing gratitude for your people and how that actually leads to business growth. So first, though, I want to go over some highlights of the last couple of weeks. So I got a chance to speak to the Veterans Employee Resource Group leaders from all different kinds of companies, from Verizon to Wells Fargo to FedEx, in Columbus, Ohio, at the National Veteran Museum, Memorial and Museum that's run by General Ferriter and his amazing team. And it was great to connect with a lot of organizations there. And since then, we've been able to book a bunch of workshops for the veterans of these different organizations, which is very exciting. Another really cool opportunity was I spoke to the sheriffs of El Paso County yesterday. I drove to Colorado Springs. It was a beautiful drive. Next time I'll fly, but I wanted to drive on this one. And this really rad Jeep, and got to speak to the Sheriff Roybal and Under Sheriff Kramer and their teams. And it was an awesome experience of human connection. They had a beautiful venue and got to really dial in how they become better as human beings, how they can better show up for their people. And it was a great time. We were blowing up balloons, learning how to breathe, moving around, complimenting each other, squatting, touching our toes, meditating, monotasking. It was awesome. Um, so anyway, I know that not everyone's going to get that kind of experience unless you hire me, of course, and my team. But what I do want to share with you is that on October 5th, so that's next week at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 Pacific Standard Time, we are hosting a webinar called Recharge Your Health, Retain Your People. And this isn't any normal webinar. And Dr. Marissa will put the link to that webinar and how you sign up in the comments. So she'll put the Zoom link because it will be on Zoom. We do have a LinkedIn event, but remember it is on Zoom. And this experience isn't just a normal webinar. It's not actually going to be webinar format. It's going to be a meeting format. So whoever shows up, I can actually connect with you. We are going to have Perry Larson on, my husband, who will help manage questions and whatnot. And then John McCaskill will jump on and teach a meditation exercise with you all. But it's going to be interactive. Like, I want to get to know you. And, you know, if you're someone that likes to sit with your camera off, that's okay too. But again, it's a webinar on October 5th. The link will be in the comments, but it is a meeting format. And if you miss it, there will be probably another one that we do directly after, and there will be a recording. So sign up anyway. All right. So now speaking of gratitude, let's get into this topic. Okay. So last week, I was at the Economic Alliance Conference. It was run by, the lead of it was Michael French, an amazing individual, family man. And the keynote speaker was Chris Schembra. I have his book right here. So, Gratitude Through Hard Times. And he's known, he is a term that was coined, not by him, but by others, the gratitude guru. And his story actually really resonated with me considerably. The title of the conference, and this isn't anyone's fault, but Economic Alliance Summit kind of seems very boring, could be, and it was the opposite of that. It was amazing. It was all about connecting with your people. All of the speakers, all of the information given was not just on performance, but on people, which is really awesome because a lot of the leadership trainings out there are outdated completely. It's all about like conflict resolution, acute conflict resolution, chronic conflict resolution, how to get along with your peers, how to focus on increasing productivity with less people, right? But what about the people? Like, what about focusing on the people just as much as the performance versus just the performance? So anyway, in this, so just a quick story, the first keynote speaker was Chris Schembra, and he spoke about gratitude and how it helps improve, how visionary leaders use it, how he's used it. And where he started it was he started hosting dinners at his home. And he did some cooking lessons in Italy and would host dinners. And so basically at these dinners that he would collect, a handful of people at a time every week, he would ask them, and actually I think the first time he asked them was at 7:47. So not the airplane 7:47, but at 7:47 p.m. he asked, what are you most grateful for? Who are you most grateful for? And at this dinner of people that he didn't know and that he brought together, fellow leaders. And that really opened up really intimate, deep conversations. And that kind of kickstarted his business into going around the world, speaking to organizations about how to create more human connection and speaking about how gratitude can lead to economic expansion, but more importantly, like just a better, more long-lasting organization, and as well as improving your life. So what I want to go through now is a few points that I took from his talk and some of the research I've done. Because really with Movement RX, we are also creating human connection experiences. I mean, that is essentially what these well-being drills and exercises that we do and we help people dial in create is human connection. When you are a more mindful person, you are a more connected person. When you have your phone away, when you have discipline around your phone, you are a more connected person, right? With the people and the things that are right in front of you. When you monotask versus multitask, you're a more connected person. When you move more and eat better, you're going to feel more connected to your body anyway, and therefore be a better person as you show up to work and the things you do. So, but anyway, what I want to go through now is, okay, what does gratitude even mean? And then some of these other main points that I think you should know about. So gratitude is the quality of being thankful. It's a noun, and it's a readiness to show appreciation for and return kindness. So being able to be kind, show appreciation, and the act of being thankful is gratitude. So think about in your life where you show up, like how are you showing up for people around you? Do you show up and show gratitude? Like show your appreciation for the people that are doing the things for you that maybe you aren't able to do or don't have time to do? Are you thanking people? Right? Are you looking at what you do have versus what you don't have? Are you sharing with your kids how grateful you are for them and then, doing the chores that you asked them to do or just, giving you a hug that you really needed? Right? How are you showing up? How are you showing thankfulness? How are you showing appreciation for others? And oftentimes that's a kind of a lost art. What it takes is dialing in the ability to listen to what people say and don't say, what people do and don't do. And instead of blaming, it's like understanding why. Someone's not doing something that you ask them to do, why are they not doing it? So one of the things that Chris shared in his keynote to all these leaders, to include myself, was you cannot listen and dream at the same time. So as a business owner, I'm a visionary, right? And I have ideas and I have the direction of the company, but it takes a team to go in that direction. And I have a wonderful team. Yet I also, you can't think of the Statue of Liberty and something else at the same time. You only think of one. So the point is that, well, I have a vision and my team knows the vision and are part of that vision, right? They join the team because of that vision, which isn't always the case for some organizations. I also need to listen to my people, listen to what they say and don't say and check in because we're all virtual. So that means more check-ins are required. But again, you can't listen and dream at the same time. You can do both, but not at the same time. So one of the things that Chris also shared under gratitude is that if a company leader shows gratitude and instills a culture of gratitude, you're gonna have maybe 81% more driven individuals. Also, you as a leader are going to be 2 times more likely to be trusted, as well as you're going to have lower cardiovascular stress by up to 54%. So these are some of the stats you share, which I think was great, right? Share these stats because, again, if it increases trust, it lowers your cardiovascular stress, but increases drive in yourself and your people. What are you waiting for? Do it. So the other thing he said was for visionary leaders, gratitude is more than a sentiment. It's a strategy for economic expansion, hence the title. Great leaders promote economic growth by grounding in the present while aiming for a better future. So the interesting thing is I love to use his words here. So this is Chris Schembra, by the way. And if you're coming in, we are talking about how gratitude leads to economic expansion. So great leaders promote economic growth by grounding in the present while aiming for a better future. Now, one of the things I share with leaders when I speak to them is that you can be healthy and lead at the same time. You can choose to be healthy now, because if you choose to be healthy now and choose to dial in the well-being, the 5 well-being behaviors that we speak about now, you are not only living a better life now, but you also have the end game in mind. End game meaning you're going to die. How do you want your life to be between now and when you do pass, whenever that is? So living in the now with the end game in mind, that is longevity. And that is really important here, is our people are human beings and they are going to pass. How do you, as a leader, and how do your people, how do you want to live your life between now and that time? It is important to think about. So I do, being in the precious present, though, is not, it's hard to do, right? Being present. I mean, are you here with me, or are you thinking of all the other different things that are going on? Most likely you were scrolling and saw this and were like, oh, I'm going to stop. Maybe you were intentional about it. I don't know. Right? But understand that being able to practice the precious present, and it takes practice. So mindfulness is a great form of practicing how to be aware in a given moment. It's a way of being aware. Meditation can help you train that mindfulness, can help you train to be more present, right? It could be also, maybe you don't want to do meditation, maybe you want to do prayer or breath work. That's fine. Focused breath work on one thing, right? The rise and fall of the diaphragm, how you're breathing, just the physical aspect of just taking some moments to learn how to breathe and breathe efficiently can be a form of practicing how to be present. But you have to literally train it, just like you're training your bicep in the gym, or whatever you're training in the gym. If you go to the gym, or if you're trying to strengthen a part of your body, it's just like that. You can train to be present. And that is a skill that leaders should take on. Now, I did speak to a sheriff yesterday who's going to bring me into their department, who did, mention that he's an undersheriff. Their sheriff is now doing mindfulness with their organization, which is awesome. I mean, imagine how those sheriffs and undersheriffs are going to show up now for the community and for their families. That's outstanding, right? And they're also doing exercise together. No matter what rank they are, they're doing exercise together. How rad. Okay, so the second piece I want to talk about is human connection. So what gratitude creates, as you can imagine, when you're a leader and when your people are showing up and showing appreciation and thankfulness versus just being like, why didn't you get this done? Why didn't you get this done? And just kind of hiding behind your coffee, right? Or your computer, is it creates human connection. So this is true. This is something my father would tell me. And actually, Chris has this on his website. So there is a huge connection there. I believe there are no coincidences in life. People will always forget what you said. Not always, but people will forget what you said, what you did even, yet they will never forget how you made them feel. So this was coined from Maya Angelou. This matters at work and in life. So think about it. Have you ever been in the midst of seeing someone speak who has all the titles behind their name, but they're assholes? Like you go up to them afterwards and they don't give you the time of day, or you connect with them after and they don't give you the time of day, right? Or there are people who really live it, like who really live and breathe what they do, and you can tell when a leader really lives it. Now, a friend of mine here, a new friend of mine here, is Carrie Siggins. She runs Stone Age. She may even be online right now. I don't know. She runs her own podcast too. An amazing leader. She lives her values of her organization. And you can tell she embodies it. She's a healthy human being. She has been through so much, but she's a healthy human being and continues to work on it every day and embodies the values that she preaches in her company and asks others to do the same because she does it. And she creates human connection experiences for her people because she knows her people matter and she gives them what they need. There's a level of integrity there and trust. It's pretty powerful. So people need to feel safe and like they matter. That was something that Carrie even mentioned. She was in a job before where she didn't feel like she mattered. She was just a number. She was going through a hard time and nobody noticed until she said, you know what, I'm done. I had the same thing happen. I worked in a PT clinic for 6 months, right out of PT school, and I was struggling. I mean, in my first review, I actually cried because I was so miserable. Like, that's when I'm really miserable, when I start crying about something. And that's okay. Like, I do cry, but this was years ago, and I was in a job where I was like, I have to be here. I'm supposed to be here, but I hate it. What do I do? And in my first review, it felt like Office Space, but in a PT clinic, I started to cry. They were like, oh my gosh, what is going on with this lady? But I didn't feel like I mattered. And like I didn't feel safe there. I couldn't treat people the way I wanted. I was seeing 3 or 4 people an hour, and it felt like I couldn't give them the time that they deserved. And that's typical, unfortunately, in PT clinics. So right before I went on my honeymoon, I said, peace out. I am taking my 3 weeks notice. I'm giving you a 3 weeks notice. And then they paid attention to me and said, we really love you to be one of our directors of this program. We think you'd be great, and we would love to keep you. And like, no, I'm done. I don't want to spend one more day here in my mind. But I did give them, the 3 weeks before I left for my honeymoon, wedding and honeymoon. But yeah, it's like you got to feel like you matter, or people are going to fizzle out. Right? That's what the webinar, when we speak on October 5th, the link's in the comments. Why do people leave? Because they're burnt out. They don't feel like they matter. And it's up to you as a leader to do something about it. You and your fellow leaders. And you can by creating human connection. So the last thing I'll say about human connection and what gratitude can do in your culture, and here's some of the stats that Chris Schembra shared, was you can increase goal achievement by 31% by creating a culture of human connection, meaning gratitude, providing help for your people, being there for your people. It doesn't have to be just you, but your managers as well, who can be leaders. It increases your people's well-being by 36%. It increases professional growth by 59%. It improves positive relationships by 92%. And then it also improves productivity by 2.30, right? So $2.30 a person increases productivity. And I think that's per month. So I have to find the study on that. But that's something that he shared that I thought was really powerful. So it increases your economic growth because people are more driven. They feel better about their life and what they're doing. They have more positive relationships and they want to be there. So yeah, you're going to grow. So who wouldn't want to do that? So the final thing I'm going to share with you before we call it a day and answer questions is yesterday, I actually did a talk for the sheriffs of El Paso County. And the first thing that the sheriff, I felt like I was back in the Marine Corps a little bit because he was playing some AC/DC at the beginning and showing some battle videos. So it was kind of like a way to get people pumped up for the day. It made me smile. Anyway, one of the first things he said was like, look, I want to create a culture of well-being. Boom. Awesome. And culture of connection. Like that's what he was about. And he's like, basically essentially saying, if you do what you've always done, we're going to get what we always got. We got to change some things. We need to shift. And that's what this is about. This is about accountability and planning on how to shift some things so we can create a better culture of human connection and well-being. So we can better serve our communities, our department, our families, ourselves. And so that was really cool. So he brought me in, and the thing he said when he introduced me, well, the first presentation was about, okay, what's each aspect of our department doing? Let's check in. What's going on? And there's an accountability check. And it was really cool. They threw this microphone cube around the room. I've never seen something like that before. And then he was like, okay, now we're going to bring Dr. Larson in, and she's going to help you focus on you, help you focus on dialing in you and how you can be better for yourself first, which was awesome, for your family and for your community. And so then we went into a 2-hour training with them, and it was so much fun. And so what he did was he created this environment of human connection. And while I can say, let's do something virtual together, nobody needs more virtual experiences or Zooms. People need more human connection. You got to invest in it. And guess what? You're going to retain your people by doing that. So I was really proud of Sheriff Roybal for doing that, and a lot of the other sheriffs who've hired us and organizations who've hired us to bring in a human connection experience. So if you want to learn more about what we do and how we do it and why we do it and the problem we can solve for organizations and we do solve, check out our webinar on October 5th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 10 Pacific Standard Time, 1 Eastern Time. Sign up. The link is in the comments. And now I will answer any questions. And as a quick recap, we identified what gratitude was, how it creates human connection, and how it actually leads to economic expansion. Any questions, opinions, facts? Let's see. Checking in, looking on LinkedIn. If you're on Facebook, sorry guys, I'll look later, but I'm gonna look on LinkedIn first. Let's see. Okay. So great. So Lou Gardner mentioned great topic. Dialing in from Las Vegas, drinking Trader Joe's coffee. Woo! Right on, Lou. I'm glad. I love Trader Joe's coffee too, but we don't have Trader Joe's in Durango anymore. We have Nature's Grocers. But you know what we do have here? Check it out, Durango Joe's. Shout out to him. I am doing a presentation workshop at his retreat, his leadership retreat next week. And I'm very excited about it. Durango Joe's Coffee. I think you can order it online too. Check it out. Great guy, and I love the name, Joe. It's after my dad. Thank you, Lou, for that. Let's see. John Ferguson, watching from the seat of Cecil County in Elkton, Maryland. Nice, John. All right. Well, John, do you have any questions? John or Lou, do you have any questions about this? Hopefully this was helpful for you. Marissa put the link to the webinar in the comments. Chris O'Brien, sounds like a thought-provoking presentation. Gratitude as a strategy for economic expansion is an interesting concept. What are your thoughts on how businesses can practically implement gratitude as a strategy in their day-to-day operations? That is a great way to start. So I would say, kind of like, you know, the school bell in the morning, they do the school bell and then announcements. First meetings of the day, does that be every meeting? It's, you can go around the room and show appreciation, gratitude for something or someone. That's when you can do it, or at the end of the day. That might be a great way to end the day or a great way to start the day. That's how I would infuse it. And then creating human connection type experiences for your people. So hence, maybe it's quarterly trainings, right? Where it's not just about getting better at your job, but how to be better human beings. And that is something that my company and I do. We have these, we call it the Competitive Advantage Training Series, that we provide in-person trainings for leaders and their people once a quarter, in person, ideally, unless you're in Amazon and you're all over the place, then we do it virtually, but in person is always best. But at the very least, starting with setting the stage for gratitude before one of the meetings of the day. I would suggest first meeting or last meeting of the day. That's a good question. All right, we've got other, so I don't see any other questions. But if you do have questions, I will go in and answer them later. I would love to see you on the webinar next week. Share it with another business leader or owner that you know could use it. And I'm going to ask you this right now. Who do you need to show gratitude for or appreciation that you haven't? Could be someone you don't really like, but it could be someone you really like. You just haven't said. Who is it? And then go do it. All right, with that, have a wonderful day, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I will see you again soon. And I hope to see you on the webinar next week. All right, with that,